following program is sponsored by Mike Gray with Morris Williams Realty. Views and opinions expressed are not those of this station, its owners, staff, or management. Now, the Golden State Report with Mike, Amy, and Dave.
Welcome, everybody. Here we are at the Golden State Report in summer of 2022. I'm Amy Debusk from Finance of America, and I'm here with my show co-host, David Stone from the Stone Consulting Group.
Oh, Amy, it's so great to be with you, but where's Mr. Gray?
Mr. Gray, he's off today. He's taking a little vacation, and he let us do this a couple months ago, and he thought he'd try it again.
Vacation, huh?
Yeah, and we have a very special guest with us today, Albert Garibaldi from the agency, who is also a realtor in the Bay Area. Albert has 25 years of experience, and he is the author of Passion Punch to Success. Welcome, Albert.
Well, thank you, Amy. I really appreciate it. Nice to see you, David.
Yeah,
this
great to
is
meet you.
awesome. A lot of fun.
We're going to have a great time, everybody.
There you go.
Yes,
Stick
we
around.
are. Yes, we are. So here at the Golden State Report, we typically talk about the real estate market here in the Sacramento Valley and how it pertains to the last 7 to 10 days. And I did get a temperature from Mike before we started our show today. And Mike Gray said that, there are still more buyers than there are sellers here in the Sacramento Valley. And it's still a seller's market. And David, you had a little something to say about that.
I was wondering, it kind of feels like it's cooling off a little bit. And I don't know if it's interest rates or if it's just the economy and people are getting worried about what's going on with inflation.
Well,
it seems like it's cooling down.
It definitely is cooling down. It's summertime, so typically in any marketplace, in our marketplace in the summer, people go on vacation, kids are out of school, buyers that were out there hot and heavy looking for a home in, springtime or just taking a little break, maybe seeing, what's out there. So that's going on.
Yeah.
And then, absolutely interest rates are playing a part with that. We all know interest rates are now 2% higher than they were a year ago.
Yeah.
They're on the 5s now, so that definitely plays a part. And I think there's a little bit of a fallout. Less buyers in our marketplace can qualify for as much money.
And maybe those folks that are normally going to be out buying homes, they've just made the decision, you know what, I'm going to Cabo, or I'm going to go to Hawaii, or I'm just going to go up to Lake Tahoe and chill for a while. And put this whole buying a home thing on the back
on hold.
burner.
Yep, absolutely. And I am not sure if that's a good decision or a bad decision. We don't have a crystal ball. If we did, I'd be a rich woman.
That's why they call this the Golden State Report, because we can get the gold, right?
That's right, David. So Albert, you're a resident realtor in the Bay Area. What marketplace do you specify in?
Thank you, Amy. So I cover the Santa Clara County, Alameda County, Contra Costa County, and San Mateo County.
So what are you seeing in your marketplace this summer?
Yeah, so pretty much the same thing what you just said. We still have a lot of buyer demand, and so it's still a seller's market at this point, but I'm starting to see some adjustments. Some of the properties that are not in great locations are tending to sit on the market, and we're starting to see a lot of price adjustments. So we're seeing prices come down. There are homes that are sitting on the market longer than normal because we've been spoiled.
Yes, we have. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Albert, with the sellers, I have a lot of empathy for sellers and buyers in this market. It's a tough market for both ends. But for the sellers, do you think maybe they're having a hard time pricing the house right?
Yeah, because before we would have, 7-10 days on market, homes going pending. It was pretty easy to list and price a home. Today, you're really going to need, as time goes on, you're going to need advisors, real estate advisors. I'm a real estate agent, but I like to call myself an advisor. So it's going to be really important to understand the current market. But every city is different. So, there's, Atherton, Palo Alto, Menlo Park. Those are areas that tend to have a lot of cash, so they're not really affected by the interest rates. I just sold a property, way over asking. It was a $6.6 million listing and sold way over the asking price, all cash.
Yep, that's a little bit different of a market. Absolutely.
Correct. So in those markets is very different. Interest rates really don't apply there. But as you come down the peninsula more towards Saratoga, Cupertino, San Jose, Santa Clara, those kind of areas are tied to interest rates. And that's where we're kind of seeing days on market. And buyers are hesitant. That's just the bottom line is they're trying to figure out what's going to happen. So there's a lot of pushback from buyers right now.
Yeah, and I think that there was a lot of payment shock in the last few months.
Correct.
If somebody was pre-approved to buy a house, 6 months ago, and maybe they didn't reapprove themselves, before they made that offer in the last couple months, it was, like a cold glass of water just got poured over their head.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So anyway, I think that pricing the home right is definitely for a seller. And, we talked about this in past shows. Albert, what do you do when you're looking to price one of your listings? What do you look at? What kind of information do you collect for your seller to decide on that price?
Wow, that's a great question. So I'm dealing with that right now. So it's interesting because today versus a few months ago, homes would go on the market and it would have an offer date and it would go into contract. Today, we're seeing homes sitting on the market. And now what I'm doing is trying to get a pulse from those listings that have been on the market for 14 days to see if they have any showing activity. That's very important. A lot of real estate agents don't feel comfortable calling other listing agents on properties in the direct neighborhood. But it's very important because they are the market. They're out there. So that's what I'm doing right now. Before I price a home, I'm actually checking on activity in the neighborhood by talking with the real estate agents, how their open house went. Did they get anybody showing up? Do they have any interested buyers? How many disclosure packets were pulled? This gives me a very good pulse on what's going on versus just looking at comparables and try to come up with a price. You got to dig a little bit more.
And typically, just to remind our listeners, what a realtor does in general is what, like you said, you pull the last 3 to 6 comparable sales that closed within the last 60 days.
Typically 60 to 90 days, because an appraiser will go back 90 days. So
yes.
We look at 60 to 90 days, but our market changes very quickly. So you have to be very careful. Homes that sold 3 weeks ago had 10 offers, and then today there's no offers. So the market's very interesting. So you got to kind of find the market. And looking at comparables is a great way within a certain radius, quarter mile, half a mile. That's all awesome. But when there's homes on the market that you're comparing, it's important to reach out to that listing agent just to kind of introduce yourself, tell them you have an upcoming listing, how's the activity been? Because the bottom line is if they're not getting activity, guess what? We're most likely not. We're going to get the same results.
Right, exactly, because you're going into the same market. And, absolutely, as you said before, the key is to our listeners is to hire an advisor, hire an experienced realtor that can advise you and do all the legwork that you're speaking of, such as calling the listing agents and maybe even previewing a few listings in the area that are up for sale already.
So our market is typically 12 to 14 days on market. It'd actually be shorter, but we pick offer dates to give 2 weekends. If we didn't do that, the homes go pending very quickly. But what we're seeing now is that's starting to be stretched out beyond 14 days. So homes are sitting on the market longer. And we only, to be very frank with you, in Silicon Valley, our shelf life of inventory was only 30 days.
Wow.
Meaning if no other homes came on the market, we would be sold out in 30 days. What buyers are looking for is inventory levels. And on the market, days on market is what they're looking for, and then 60 to 90 days of inventory. When it starts to hit 90 days of inventory, now we're shifting to a buyer's market.
Right.
So we're not quite there yet.
We're not. And I don't think, personally, this is just my opinion. We will be wrong, but I don't know that I think we'll get into a neutral flat market here in the Sacramento Valley.
Yeah.
But I don't see it where we're going to get into a true buyer's market where the houses are going down in value.
Yeah.
I just think there's not enough homes out there in Northern California to produce that kind of a buyer's market. And not to mention the supply chain problems that we have with the new builds going on. And, maybe new builds don't hold that much value. influence for your area,
Yeah.
but it does all tie together.
Well, I will say there's a lot of buyers that want to make a move, and you can't be contingent upon your home selling. Today, these particular homeowners that want to move up, it's a good move up buyer if they would need to sell, because now some sellers will take a contingent upon home selling.
Absolutely. And we are going to talk about in the next segment that exact topic. We'll talk about that soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
For all your real estate, financing, and investing questions, call the show's off-air number and speak with Mike Gray directly. 530-431-8586. That's 530-431-8586.